Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam Suragurum Jagadekanatham Bhakta Priyam Sakala Loka Namaskritancha Traikunya-varjitam ajam vibhumadhyamisham vande bhavagnam amarasura siddhapandyam narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Om sahana bhavato sahanau bhunaktu saha viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaskaram to everyone. Welcome to today's session of Mahabharata. Last week, we almost finished Vanaparva or Aranya Parva. And today, we will be mainly discussing Virat Parva as a summary. And then, most likely, we will start today the Udyoga Parva. The link between the Vanaparva and the Virat Parva happens in a very nice fashion. When Vyasa has written this story, he just links the two in a very nice way. The last chapter in the Vanaparva is corresponding to, or almost the last chapter, is corresponding to the Yaksha Prashna. And after Yaksha is pleased, or actually Yaksha is Yamadharma himself, father of Dharmaraya or Yudhishthira. And when he is pleased with the answers of Yudhishthira, he brings back to life the four brothers. And after that, he is very pleased. And then he just says, you can just ask for any boon. And then I am going to grant it to you. And at that time itself, it is almost time that the Ajnatavasa has got to start. And then appropriately, Yudhishthira asks, as one of the first vara that he is going to ask is, all this Yaksha Prashna episode is going to happen because a Brahmin's some instrument of a yajna is taken away by a deer. And that's why the Pandavas had gone after the deer, and then all these things happened. And that was actually restored. And then actually Dharmaraya wanted that the instrument for the yajna should be restored to the Brahmin, and then he should just not have these type of problems in the future. And then that is the first boon that he asked for. And even with that, Yamadharma is very pleased, and then he says, ask one more. And for that, he says, as a person who is thinking of what probably is going to come in the future, he says, you know, we have agreed that we are going to go through a year of Ajnatavasa. That means to live in incognito. And so, if we have to really be incognito, it's extremely hard because all the five brothers and then Draupadi, they are all so famous, and then people can just easily recognize them. So Dharmaraya appropriately asks Yamadharma, somehow grant us some sort of a boon where we are not going to be recognized. And Yamadharma says, so be it. And you are not going to be recognized. Even if you don't even change your clothes, you are not going to be recognized by anybody. So this is like a divine gift to them. And that way they are going to be able to be in incognito for that entire year. And after this is done, the Virat Parva starts, and initially based on, even in fact, Yamadharma says, your incognito or the Ajnatavasa be happening in Matsya Desha. Matsya Desha is actually the kingdom of Virata, and then you can just go there and then you are going to be safe. And so Dharmaraya, along with his brothers and then Draupadi, they strategize how they should just enter the kingdom of Virata, and they actually take on their own names and then describe what they are going to be doing. So that way each person knows exactly where they are, what they are doing, and then if they want to communicate to one another, they also have some sort of a secret names for them. And then they say that Dharmaraya is called as Jaya, and then Bhima is called as Vijaya, like that. They assign the secret names for them to communicate with one another. And also for the people in this Matsya Desha or Virat Desha, they take upon 5 different names. And Dharmaraya becomes Tankabhatta, and Bhima is going to be called as Valala in some particular books, and then in some other books he is called as Balava. And Arjuna says that I am going to be a eunuch teaching dance, and I will take the name of Brihannale. And Nakula is going to take care of the horses, and then his name is going to be Granthika. And Sahadeva is going to take care of the cows, and then he calls himself as Tantipala. And when all these strategy and other things are decided, they enter the Matsya Desha, and still they have their own weapons, but they cannot just go with their weapons. And then the moment they just show a big mace of Bhima, people will know, oh, this fellow is Bhima. Or similarly, Gandiva, if Arjuna is carrying Gandiva, he is going to be recognized. So for that purpose, they deposit all their arms, bows, arrows, and then mace, and then things like that. And then they put it on top of a Shami Vriksha, that is Shami tree. Even today, because of that particular incident, Shami Vriksha is considered as a very auspicious one, as sacred one. And then kings, when they have to just go for battle and then all that, they go and then worship Shami Vriksha, and then afterwards they go on their ways, So they deposit their arms, the Gandiva, the bows and arrows and all that, on that Shami Vriksha, and then disguise that as though some dead body is there. And they find a dead body in a burial ground, and then hang it on the tree, so that way people who are coming there, they are first of all going to be afraid, and also the dead body is probably going to be smelling a lot, and then they don't even want to come near that. And then all these type of precautions they take, and then put the things over there, and one after the other, they enter Virata's kingdom. They come in contact with Virata, and then also his queen Sudeshne, and they take upon their roles, what they had described to one another. And they are continuing their duties. But still Virata and then Sudeshne, they are sort of not very, very happy that they can't just really believe what their things they are saying about, but still, because of Yamadharma's boon, they are not recognized, and then they continue their roles. And sometimes what happens is some Mallayuddha people, that is the wrestlers, very famous wrestlers, come to this Virata kingdom, and then they want to have bouts. And that was the annual practice. And then this happens to be during this time when Pandavas were there. And a great wrestler came, and then he challenges everybody. And then nobody would just want to even fight with him, because usually whoever fights with him is going to be killed. Then ultimately Bhima is going to take care of that person, and he will kill that wrestler in combat, in a wrestling match. And then somehow that news of the wrestler being beaten is not going to spread. That's another surprising thing. And things are going nice and dandy. And after a couple of months, this main army chief of Virata, who is the brother of the queen, his name is Kichaka. He just comes to the palace, and then just he was visiting. And as he sees Sairandri, that is Draupadi, he just wants to have good time with her. And even though Draupadi or Sairandri repulses him so much, Kichaka does not want to just stop. And he appeals to his sister, somehow make sure that this Sairandri comes to my house, and then I want to just have a good time with her. And so Sudeshne is being warned by Draupadi, I don't like this type of thing. I don't want to go to his place, because he is an evil person. He just sort of not a nice person, and then he just is going to disturb me a lot. And she warns that I have my husbands as Gandharvas, and those Gandharvas are going to be watching all the time. And if anything is going to be wrong, or if I just appeal to them, immediately they are going to beat up and then or even kill Kichaka or anybody. And then so I don't want to just create that type of a trouble for you. But still, Sudeshna ultimately sends her to Kichaka. Oh, go and then just simply bring a glass of wine, or a special wine that he has brought, and then I want to have it today, and then I'm really thirsty for wine. And Draupadi goes there, and Kichaka, knowing his this thing, he creates trouble, and Draupadi tries to escape, and then he just chases her to the assembly where the king and then other people are all there, and he literally comes and then kicks Draupadi, at which there is a lot of dialogue that takes place. And really, Sairandri warns, this is some sort of a important thing that I cannot just tolerate. And then my husbands, who are Gandharvas, will take care of this Kichaka. Kichaka doesn't bother about these things, and then he just goes away. Then Draupadi, in order to take revenge and to solve this problem, he appeals to Bhima, and then Bhima ultimately, in a Nrityashala, where students, after they are done, they would have gone home. In the night, Bhima goes there and then fights with the Kichaka and destroys him completely. He just is killed mercilessly. And then anybody who just probably in the book, it just describes how grotesquely the Kichaka is killed and then all that. And knowing that the Kichaka is killed and then it is because of Sairandri, Upakichakas, another 105 people, they are also evil. And then they want to just take this Sairandri and then put in the same pyre as Kichaka. And when Sairandri appeals to Bhima, Bhima goes and then finishes off all those Upakichakas. And everybody in the country is sort of very, very afraid. What is going on? This Kichaka, who is so powerful, is killed. And then the story is that this Sairandri has got some husbands who are Gandharvas, who are not to be seen, and they really have just killed Kichaka and then also Upakichakas. And then, so that is the sort of story that is sort of floating around, and everybody is sort of afraid. And the queen, Sudeshne, says, my brother is gone. I don't want any more trouble, so you should leave. But Draupadi says, give us some more time, and I won't just create any problem, and then things will be fine. After another few days or a week or 15 days, I'm going to be gone to another town, so you don't have to worry. And saying like that, things are going on. And the end of 1 year is coming nearby. Only maybe, as per Duryodhana's calculation, only 1 or 2 months is there. So we have to somehow put a lot of effort to find out where Pandavas are, and then find them out, bring them out, and then expose them. And that way, they are going to go through another 12 years of Vanavasa or forest life. So he is strategizing how we should just do it. And when Kichaka's death was known to Duryodhana, and also he has got a friend by name Susharma. He is a king of another Trigarta kingdom, and he has been humiliated by this Kichaka a lot of times. Anytime he wants to just sort of invade the Matsya Desha, the Trigartas, they want to come and then occupy Matsya Desha. This Kichaka was completely on the way. And Virata is already very old. And Susharma thinks that he can take care of Virata. But mainly he is interested in the wealth that Matsya Desha has in the form of cows. So he comes to Duryodhana and then says, now Kichaka is gone. I have got a lot of enmity for their against the Matsya Desha. So now I want to just sort of go in and then collect as many number of cows as possible. So that way we can just share the bounty. Oh, Duryodhana also thinks, Kichaka, he was so powerful. How come he just is killed? Maybe, when you are just there, and then maybe we will just strategize. You first make an attack. And after a couple of days, we are going to attack from another direction. So Susharma attacks from the south of the Matsya Desha, that is called as Dakshina Gograhana. All the cows in the southern side of Matsya Desha is going to be captured by Susharma. And when this news goes to Virata, immediately he just is so angry, and then he wants to protect his cows. And then he just says, we have to go and then fight. He and then his brothers. And then also he just knows this Kankabhatta and then Valala, they are all good fighters. He takes them along with, and then to fight this Susharma. So all the 4 Pandavas, except Arjuna, the 4 Pandavas, and then the brothers of Virata, and then Virata, they go and then fight. And in the process, somehow Virata is captured by Susharma. Now, Yudhishthira says to Bhima, this is not the time that we should keep quiet. We have to just somehow release Virata because Susharma has captured him. And somehow Bhima goes and then fights with Susharma and then releases Virata. And at the same time, he is just going to kill Susharma. And Yudhishthira at that time strategically comes and then stops him. Because later on in the bigger war, probably Susharma, because his life was saved by Yudhishthira, he is going to be sort of a little bit helpful. So Yudhishthira strategically says, yeah, Susharma's life can be spared, and he is released. And as this good news of all the cows in the southern direction has been protected and then brought back to Matsyadesha, they hear the news that from the north, Duryodhana and then his entire army is just coming and then capturing the cows in the northerly direction. That is Uttara Gograhana. Uttara Gograhana. And when this happens, Virata is very concerned. I cannot really go there as quickly as possible. And there are no other warriors left in the kingdom. And then how should we handle it? My son who is there, he is alone. And then he is just sort of not sure what to do. But he also gets the news, his son, Uttara Kumara, has gone to battle with the Kauravas, who have come with a big army. And when he hears this news, oh, it is very, very strange. Uttara Kumara is so young, and then he probably may be harmed. He probably may be harmed. And then Kankabhatta says, oh, Uttara Kumara has gone along with a charioteer. Brihannale is his charioteer. So when Brihannale as charioteer is there, you don't have to worry about your son. He's going to be fine. And Virata gets enraged because of this reason. My son is going to be protected by the charioteer, and charioteer is going to be protected by the bowman, not the other way. So he's just sort of, this is sort of illogical. He's just thinking. But the reality is, Uttara Kumara, when he receives the message that there is a big army from the northern side capturing their cows, I really want to go and then fight with them. But I don't have a suitable charioteer. He cannot just go without a chariot to do a big fight. So somehow Sairindri suggests that once he has seen this Brihannale as a charioteer, and then he can just be taken, and then he will just take care of the thing. And somehow they go to the battlefield. And the moment Uttara Kumara sees the army of the Kauravas, he is so afraid, and he is just running back to his kingdom, to his palace. So Arjuna goes and then catches him, or Brihannale goes and catches him. You are not going to run away. You don't worry. We will fight with this army. We are going to win. Oh, for that purpose, we will go and then get some bows and arrows, proper bows and arrows, and then I will, if you cannot, I am going to just take care of them. And then you just drive the chariot, and then I am going to take care of them. And when he says like that, he is taken to that same Shami tree where the arms, the bows and then arrows were just all stored. And he asked Uttara Kumara to go up and then bring down those beautiful weapons. And when he sees that one, how do you know that there were these arms here? Oh, once, Pandavas and then Arjuna and other people, they were just putting their arms over there. And then I have seen that one. So that's why I wanted to use that bow and arrow belonging to Arjuna. So that way we can have a good fight. Ultimately come and then fights with the army. Now Uttara Kumara is the charioteer, whereas Brihannale or Arjuna is the bowman. And he actually sends some arrows as a respect to Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and they recognize, oh, this is Arjuna. And definitely he is the one who can just actually fight in that particular way. And the whole army is going to be defeated. Individually and also collectively, they're defeated. One version says and describes all the big fights that were happening individually and collectively. But the other version says Arjuna simply used what is called as a Sanmohanastra. A Sanmohanastra, when it is used, it is like some sort of a anesthetic gas where people just start to sleep. And when the entire army is put to sleep, you go and then do whatever you want. And when that Sanmohanastra is used, all these people are sort of sleeping, and Uttara Kumara is told, oh, you go and then get their jewelry that they are putting on. So that way, when you go to the palace, you can just show that as proof that you have defeated all these people. Uttara Kumara is very happy. He does that. And he is so thankful to Brahannale. And this Kaurava army is defeated. All the cows in the northern direction also is protected and then brought back. And Uttara Kumara is coming back to the palace. And by that time, the news comes, oh, Uttara Kumara is very victorious against the Kaurava army. And Virata is so happy. My son, he has taken care of the Kaurava army of Bhishma, Drona, Duryodhana, Ashwatthama, and all that. So he is so proud, and then he's just saying, my son is great. Whereas Kankabhatta or Yudhishthira is saying, you know, all these exploits are possible because of the charioteer, Brahannale. And Virata gets extremely angry because he is always insisting all these exploits are possible because of the charioteer and then not the prince. And once he gets so angry, they were playing a game of dice, and then he takes those dice and then hits on the nose of Dharmaraya, and then immediately he starts bleeding. And Sairendri is just seeing all these things. And she comes and then immediately helps Dharmaraya. So that way he is bleeding. That blood does not fall into the ground because Arjuna had taken a vow. Anyone who is going to make my brother bleed, and then if that blood is going to fall onto the ground, other than in a battlefield, I will make sure that person is killed. So Sairendri and then Dharmaraya, they don't want any trouble for Virata and people in his kingdom. So she comes and then will not allow the blood to drop to the ground. And everybody, why Sairendri is coming and then helping? And she says, you know, your person is hurt. I have to just take care of somebody. I have to take care of Kankabhatta. So I just was helping. And in the meantime, Uttara Kumara asked for permission to come into the presence of the king. And king is so happy. Yeah, please bring them in. But Brahannale says, yeah, you know, just say the truth, whatever happened, but do not talk about Arjuna or anybody. So you will just see what is the real truth later on. Don't talk about Arjuna's Gandiva or anything like that. Just simply say, a Devakumara came and then helped me to win against the Kaurava army. And that is what Uttara Kumara says. Devakumara helped you? Oh, okay, maybe it is possible. So that's how somehow Virata gets convinced. Yeah, anyway, my son has gone there. He has won the battle. He has won the war. And then I am happy. And the next day, or the following day, in the assembly, all these Pandavas have taken off their guise and they are appearing as Pandavas because the 1 year period is over. There is debate on the Kaurava side. They immediately recognize, oh, this is Arjuna. So he has been exposed within that 1 year period. So Pandavas are found out. So they have not fulfilled their promise. So they have to go back to the Vanavasa again. But Bhishma and then Drona says, if Dharmaraya has calculated when Arjuna has got to appear, then obviously the term is just done. And then we have to just sort of agree to whatever Dharmaraya or Yudhishthira is saying. And so probably the period is over. Here in the Virata kingdom or palace, they all appear as Pandavas and they are sitting on the throne. Virata comes and then he is so surprised. He is almost like shocked to see Pandavas in real form. And all along he is thinking that they are somewhere hiding, or maybe they are killed in some way. And he is surprised that they are all in his kingdom. And then they have taken their places in their simhasanas. And then Arjuna and Uttara Kumara, they introduce each of those Pandavas to Virata. And then Virata really, really is so happy. But at the same time, he is extremely sad because he hurt Dharmaraya. He just really thought that he is simply a person who is just going to help him play the game of dice. And he has sort of ridiculed him. A great king is being ridiculed by me. It's just totally wrong. And he is just apologizing so much. And then you take the throne, and then I am going to be serving you. And he is doing all these things with great humility. And also he thinks, in order to reduce a possible anger of Pandavas, he says to Arjuna, I'm going to give in marriage my daughter Uttara to you. So if that type of relationship is established, then at least the anger of Pandavas is going to come down. That's what Virata is just thinking. Arjuna says, no, she was my student. I cannot just marry her like that. What a great sort of philosophy. As a teacher, the student cannot be just sort of taken in marriage. And he suggests, my son Abhimanyu is there. I will take Uttara as the wife or as the bride of Abhimanyu. And they all are now preparing for the wedding of Abhimanyu. But Abhimanyu, Subhadra, they are all in Dwarka. And this announcement came that 1 year is done, the Ajnatavasa is done, 12 years of Vanavasa is done, Pandavas are free now. And the news goes that there is going to be a big celebration in Virata kingdom, Upaplavya Nagara. Upaplavya Nagara, there will be a great feast. And Krishna, Subhadra, Abhimanyu, all the Yadavas are invited. And similarly, the father of Draupadi, Drupada, Drishtadyumna, Shikandi, they are all called and they all come. And when they come, they celebrate the wedding of Abhimanyu and Uttara, and in a very, very grand manner. And the story of The story in the Virat Parva ends with this great Kalyana or marriage of Abhimanyu and Uttara. One other thing about this Virat Parva, there is sort of a belief that if there is no rain in a kingdom or in a place or any area, then if this Virat Parva is going to be chanted or Virat Parva is going to be listened to, then plenty of rains are going to come. And that has been the belief, and people say it has happened many times, and people are able to just sort of get water out of rains, and their drought situation is just minimized, and they are happy. So the Palashruti in Virat Parva says, if you just chant the shlokas of Virat Parva or listen to the story of Virat Parva, there is going to be plenty of rain. And I want to just give a small anecdotal story. And this is exactly what I heard, very recent in terms of time frame. There's a friend of mine by name Adishesha in a small village near Hassan in Karnataka. He and then his brother, they have some garden, and they wanted to expand on the garden, but they wanted water. That year, there was a lot of drought in Karnataka, the entire area of Karnataka. And they had to almost abandon their plans. What could be done? Because there's drought and then we cannot expand our garden, or even the existing garden, they couldn't just sustain because of lack of water. Oh, they said, okay, let us just drill a borewell. In one corner of their garden, they drilled a borewell. No water. Even they go to 200 feet, 300 feet, no water. Then somebody suggested, it appears, that, you should just listen to the story of Virat Parva, or story in Virat Parva. And then rains are going to come, or you are going to get water. They said, okay, all right, we will try that method also. And they brought in some great experts who are able to just chant the shlokas of Virat Parva. And in the village, Kaushika, they arranged this program as an 8-day program. This entire Virat Parva is going to be chanted for 8 days. And this was in the month of December or so. And in that part of the country, nobody will expect any rain in December. And the people who were just chanting, and then when they were approached, well, this is the reason why we are doing it. It is December. How can you expect any rain? And ultimately, no rain may come. We don't know. But these two brothers insisted, yeah, you should come and then try. We will try. All right, they came and then chanted. No rain came. But there was some sort of a suggestion. You have just got the borewell in one end of the garden. Why not you try in the other end of the garden after this story is completely chanted? They tried in the other portion of the garden, another borewell. They got the plenty of water within 100 feet. And the brothers really believed, yes, this is because of the Virat Parva that we just actually listened to, and then it was chanted. And they are extremely happy. And there is plenty of water all the time. Even if the rain is not there, they have got the well now. So this is the sort of story that our Palashruti that is coming out of Virat Parva. So this really completes the summary portion of what Brother Jairam was covering. And then we need to start the next parva, that is the Udyoga Parva. So before we go to the Udyoga Parva, I want to place before you a small question. As it comes in this story, Krishna along with the Yadavas, Drupada and then all the Panchalas, and so many people have come for the wedding of Abhimanyu and Uttara. Nowhere in this story it says any Kauravas, Bhishma, Drona, or Duryodhana, or Dushasana, or Karna, nobody has come to the wedding. And even the mother of Pandavas, who was in Hastinapura, her own grandson's wedding, Kunti is not there. What could be the reason? You can, whoever wants to discuss, please unmute yourself and then let us go over this thing. Kunti, the grandmother, is not invited for, or she has not come for the wedding. Kauravas are not invited. They are not in the wedding. Any reason why?
Did they try to avoid any conflicts between Kauravas and Pandavas before anything happened, or just avoid any showdown or something like that?
Yeah, but it is a wedding, and then normally if it is a wedding, people just, they are sort of comfortable. Oh, it's a Shubha Samaramba, so why we make trouble? But of course, you are right. There is a possibility that there could be trouble.
Right.
But at least even if the Kauravas are not coming, Kunti, as the grandmother, could have been brought.
Right.
Any other perceptions?
Subhadra's wedding to Arjuna, had it been taken well by Kunti?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Kunti was there, yes, during the Arjuna's wedding with Subhadra. Yes, she was there. But the Kauravas did not take it well because they were sort of almost ridiculed. And they wanted Subhadra to be married to Duryodhana.
Yes.
But that did not happen because Krishna actually...
Virat's son, Uttara and Brahmila, they defeated Kauravas army. Maybe that's...
I'm not able to hear. Somebody can please show their face.
Okay, that was my wife saying maybe because the Virat's army defeated the Kauravas army before. Is that one of the reasons?
Yeah, it was fresh in their mind.
Right.
And then they are defeated. And then as a person who are defeated, why do we just go and then show our faces?
Right.
And then maybe Kunti also thought this is not a very appropriate time for her to travel. And then maybe at that time she was not well. We don't know.
Yeah.
So these are all some little things which just contributed that Kauravas are not coming. And also, as you said before, Natarajore,
yes, sir.
The thing is, they didn't want to sort of create any sort of emotions and then troubles over there, or people may just start fighting right there, and then maybe they want it over.
Yes.
That is the edition in the edition that I have read. The Kauravas were invited. They were invited. There was a deliberation in Hastinapur how to react to the invitation. And finally, Bhishma and I think some of the elders, they made a decision that Pandavas have had a very rough time over the last 12, 13 years. This is the time for them to enjoy, and appearance of Kauravas in that wedding would be a distraction for them to enjoy the wedding, and therefore they made a very calculated decision not to go to the wedding. Now, I don't know why that would have applied to Kunti, but this is the decision for the Kauravas not to get to the wedding. They just want to let the Pandavas have the good time after the 13 years of Aranyavasa and Ajnatavasa that they had.
No, but the fact is, Duryodhana and other people are still thinking that Ajnatavasa is not successfully done, and then the Pandavas should just go back.
Maybe that's a different issue. Yes, Duryodhana never accepted that they have finished the Ajnatavasa. That is Banda. That is just arrogant behavior.
Arrogance.
That's what everyone dismissed him in Drona, Bhishma. Everybody dismissed the Duryodhana. Duryodhana is just reacting to the situation. One more thing I want to say is, you said about this water thing, and that Virat Parva. See, there is a reason behind that also, in the sense that during that year of the Pandavas Ajnatavasa, there was at least one version describes like this: there was famine all over that part of the Aryavarta. And as much as there was famine, only in Virata, in Matsya Desha, there was no famine. Now they were adding this as a data point to make a calculated decision that the Pandavas may be there, because wherever there is the Dharmaraya, there cannot be famine. Dharmaraya is such a righteous dharma abiding person that in that land there can never be famine. So that is one of the data points for them to determine that it is very likely that the Pandavas are in Matsya Desha. See, even for the Kaurava army to go, there must be a reason. In the court of Hastinapur, it was debated. Particularly, the news comes that Kichka is dead. Kichka is killed. Now, there are only 3 persons, according to that calculation there are only 3 persons who could kill Kichka: Bhima, Duryodhana, and Balarama. These are the only 3 people who are capable of overcoming the power of Kichka. Duryodhana is in Hastinapur. He can't be a killer of Kichka. Balarama is nowhere near there. Balarama has no reason to be there. So they added these 2 points, that Kichka's death necessarily puts Bhima in Virata in Kichka's land. And the second thing is the plenty of water, rainfall in Matsya Desha puts Dharmaraya in their calculation, puts Dharmaraya in Matsya Desha, and therefore very likely they are in Matsya Desha. That's the conclusion that they make. And then they go to the war with the Nepa, with just they wanted a reason, and so they said we'll steal all their cows. Otherwise, they cannot just go. And your story that you said how Sushena, the Trigarta king, Susharma. How the Trigarta king came to help, that adds well in that context. And therefore, these are the 2 reasons that, as you said, the rain. If you study Virat Parva, there is a likely of water availability. And then there is also one more kind of a story associated with Virat Parva is Abhimanyu and Uttara were married after a long struggle for the Pandavas. Therefore, it's very kind of coincidental. And they would say that if your daughter is not married, you're trying very hard. Do Virat Parva story style, and your daughter would be married. That's another side story of the Palashruti of this Virat Parva.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Ramakrishna.
All right.
Yes, sir. The Virata Parva is working because we are having rain today in North Carolina.
Yes.
So you have heard of Virat Parva today, and then that's why it is raining in your area.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So I think maybe we will end a little early today, and then next week we will start Udyoga Parva. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Or if you want to, we will continue for another 10 minutes, then Udyoga Parva.
Everybody nodded their head.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me just say the finishing prayers. Swasti prajabhyam paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha gobrahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam lokas samastas sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi sasya shalini deshoyam kshoparahitaha samastas santu nirbhayaha. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Namaskaram.
All right.
Thanks,
See you
sir.
next week.